Hey.
We figured it out.
Yeah, we got there. We got there.
Hey, cheers.
Say-
Happy holidays.
Oh.
Unless you're not celebrating happy holiday.
3, 2.
That's fine too. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Welcome. Let's talk about some comics.
Let's talk about them. Gosh dang, comics.
Wait, let's do the fun game. Ready?
Remember, kids, Mario? Remember Mario?
Oh, well, later in life.
Yeah.
It's so sad. It's so sad. I don't know if it's on or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
think
either.
it matters. But welcome to Let's Talk Comics. DJ and I are going to be talking about all the newest comic books
Can't
of
tell.
the week. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think it's just batteries, but I've been too lazy to replace them.
Yeah. We're talking about comics. Marvel, Indie, and DC. We're going to start off with Marvel. I didn't pick up anything from Marvel this week.
Oh, too good for you, huh? Mm-hmm. Too good for them. That
Yeah.
makes more sense.
No, they're too good for me, man.
They're too good for you.
No, you had a Marvel book.
Yes.
Yes.
I picked up a number of books, but I'll start with the big one because I think they've been advertising this for a while after the popularity of Black Panther.
When?
So I picked
We were just
up,
talking about how that feels like 5 years ago that movie came out.
No, but it came out 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Remember?
Snap.
Yeah. But I picked up Killmonger. It's by
Yes.
Brian Hill and Juan Ferreira. And Juan Ferreira worked on... The reason why I remember that name, it took a second, was that he did Suicide Squad for a second. But the art in the book's amazing. And it's
Yes.
supposed to be an origin of Killmonger. It's a mix of... Because immediately I was like, oh, so this is the movie? And I was like, and now it's comic book
I think
stuff.
we've got like art that... Because I'm pretty sure Killmonger's story is significantly different than it is in the movie. Mm-hmm. But that looks straight from the movie.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this, it's kind of confusing. I'll be honest with
Just being candid.
just because I was like, separate it out. This is fine that they're telling a story because like I'm not like beholden to a Killmonger
Have you
origin.
read a single Killmonger story before this one? Because I sure haven't.
I sure haven't.
Yeah, if I'm being honest,
I think he's
have
been
not.
dead since the '60s. I don't think anyone gives a shit.
That's not true. He's been around the 90s, I'm pretty sure.
Like you're maybe
Yeah.
in a newly retold origin story. So it's he's an awful person. He's a straight up awful person. The way his dad died is different. It's not connected to Wakanda, but Claw's a big part of the story. He hates Claw. Like that part's interesting. I think he's kind of responsible for like what happened,
If
which
we're
is
reading
interesting.
Daredevil Volume 1, we're going to get an amazing Claw story.
Cool. Is it when he turns into sound? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to even say spoilers.
Yeah.
You have to figure out what that means.
I mean, it doesn't happen in that comic. It happened
Later.
Before that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it's just the way Claw was at the time.
Oh boy, and he still is, still right now.
Cool.
But it's tying him into because they established he went to MIT, and they're talking about that. And boy, does he hate white people. There's like maybe not that, but like no, you get some hints of that. But like I think it kind of lines up with his story, which is interesting. And also now he's getting tied up with Kingpin in a way.
Cool.
So
that's cool. I'm into that.
Overall, it's a super violent comic too, where it's kind of just showing his skills like in hand-to-hand combat, which is really interesting. So I think you would like it.
Cool.
And the way Juan Ferreira like captures all of that's really interesting. Like at a point, he's trying to kill Claw, and he gets stopped by people that because Claw's like working for Kingpin. Kingpin had another round of people that were trying to secure this exchange of goods.
Yeah.
And so they stop Killmonger, and later, when they like let him go, they send somebody else after him, and the way that Killmonger takes down that guy, it's pretty freaking brutal. Basically, this dude like breaks in through a window of Killmonger's apartment.
Yeah.
Killmonger grabs him, and in the window, because it was pushed up and the glass broke, he slams it down like with a piece of glass and like shatters this dude's face. It's pretty violent.
Yeah, my window broke today. The glass is pretty sharp.
Pretty sharp.
Yeah, it was pretty sharp.
And they basically use that as a recruitment. It's a great line where it's like, he's like, wait, you wanted to just see what I could do? He's like, yeah, I wanted to see what he could do too. So one of you was going to be getting a recruitment opportunity. So I guess it's not him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's fun. Like, and so
you're giving me like images in my brain of Michael B. Jordan hanging out with Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, and I'm bummed that'll never
happen.
even come close to happening.
but there's a lot of there's a lot of good in there. It's only 4 issues too, so it's pretty tight.
Cool,
which makes me happy. So I think I'd pick up a second issue after this one.
If you were to rate it, I know we don't normally do that on the show, but if you were to rate it out of 10,
it's just tough because it's an interesting story, and you can tell stories about characters that are not going to be on a hero's journey whatsoever. It's more just seeing where they end up, like in their life, like a little bubble of a story.
Yeah.
I don't know, but there is something strange about it because he is so problematic.
So he's not like Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger, where it's like he's a bad guy, but you like empathize with him.
Oh, you empathize with him because he was. You see how he was manipulated as a kid into becoming what he is. So you're like, you can feel for him, but you're still like, oh, you're a monster, kind of. So no, I'd give it like 7 out of 10. I'd give it a 7 out of 10 because it's not bad, but if you didn't pick it up, it'd be okay.
Cool.
It'd be okay.
What other Marvel books did you pick up?
I picked up The Immortal Hulk, The Best Defense, because they're building the Defenders out.
And this is the same creative team as the normal Immortal Hulk, correct?
Yeah. So it was Al Ewing, and it's Hulk or Bruce Banner trying to like solve a mystery of one of his dead friends, and it's very interesting. I love the way they set up the Hulk now, because he's a horror story. Like, because you could tell him a million different ways. They've done the Doc Green one. They've done the one where they work together. It's like now it's like nighttime is Hulk's time, or whenever he dies, that's Hulk's time. But during the day, that's Bruce Banner. And I love the way Al Ewing captures how they communicate with each other, because they don't talk. They don't talk to each other. It's just during the day, Bruce gets like a kind of like a headache, and he's like, that's when the Hulk's like trying to like say something. He's like, should we do this? And then he doesn't hear anything. He's like, that's scary when we agree on something. It's cool. Like there's this fun mystery of like who killed this person, and he's going to like a deserted town. Al Ewing's really painting this like desolate picture of like he's using a lot of like the American West, like those like desert towns where like there's like the population like 15, and you always kind of feel a little on edge when you think about that, and that's a really good way to use the Hulk. I also read Infinity Warps, which are like the little vignettes. There's a little anthology of other Infinity Warped characters. In Kamala Khan and Kang, at first I was like, why are they warped together? And it's that she can stretch through time and just backwards, forwards, wherever she wants to, and her costume's dope. So I like it. That's cool. Her origin is
that's half the battle right there. You get the costume cool, you're good to go.
Yeah, that's fine. And the Wolverine Emma Frost mix up. He has crystal claws that come out, and that's how they read somebody, is by scratching someone. Man, it's really violent.
It felt like a stretch there, but sure.
Yeah, it definitely is. Also, there's a new Immortal Hulk, and it's a full-on horror comic. It's terrifying. It's absolutely. In the last issue, they had Absorbing Man show up, and they gave him the Red Hulk serum. And the Red Hulk could absorb radiation too. So it's like this felt like a natural progression for the character. And he tries to take down the Hulk, but the Hulk is kind of possessed by something right now, and he's trying to like fight whatever that is, and it looks like his dad. So like there's all this like psychological torment that's happening. But when the Absorbing Man touches him, it moves over to him. And Absorbing Man, for some reason, and they're starting to explore it more, kind of like starts to rip open, and like you just see his like skull and spine like staring at him with his body in half, and this like skull is repeating "I'm sorry" over and over again. You're like, yeah, for sure. This is really, really effed up. This is bad. I think it's one of the best comics of the year. West Coast Avengers, same thing. Really like it. And they make a really good Gwenpool joke where it's like, so what can you do? He's like, I don't have powers. She's like, well, honestly, it kind of feels like I got rebooted, so I'm a little confused of what's happening. I don't know what the rules are now. I had all the rules. It's not working the same way. Like, he's like over there. That's the edge. I can see that, but I can't go over there right now. And he's like, she's with Quentin, and he's like, I have literally no idea what you're talking about. That one's really good. And ding dong ding ding dong ding 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 ding. Marvel Knights. I read that one.
Cool.
And the more they're unwrapping the story, the more I'm really interested of how like this universe is all mixed up. It's not a total home run for Donny Cates, but it is still very good. And I like that Frank Castle's the one that's investigating this. They go to like this like cult house, and it's like, this is where the witch lives, and so it's Scarlet Witch, but her two like disciples are her two boys. And like it's very scary the way that they communicate, because she kind of has powers. Also the Hulk shows up, like, and the way have you read more? No. Bruce Banner basically is getting all these notes at night. He's like, children are leaving me like these weird notes about people. Like there's one great one where like Frank Castle's going through them. He's like, this one, and it's Thor. And you actually meet Thor. Like it's Donald Blake, and he's one of the cops on the force, and he always talks like very regal. He's like, just shut up. Like, what are you doing? And Loki shows up. Like a lot of the way that they're using all these characters is really interesting. And now that the Hulk showed up, it's really cool. It's really interesting. I think that's it for Marvel.
So that's all Marvel. Did you pick up any indie books?
Let's see. I picked up Giant Days. It is sorry, I almost dropped this. Where women glow and men plunder.
Okay. So it's like a little like it's like a spin-off?
No. It's a holiday special.
Gotcha.
So, and because one of the main, and it's written and drawn by John Allison, because he wrote and drew the original comic too.
Nice.
And Scary Go Round. So, and he wrote and drew the pitch for this, which I read recently, and it's just 3 issues. It's really good.
Nice.
So it's them. One of the main guys is going to Australia with a girl that he met in college, and they're going to go stay with their family, and I'm very excited to read more of it. I started it and immediately I love it. And also, I like his art style. It's very, it have like a coffee shop vibe to it, where it's like, it's very, it looks very like sketched. Like it's not perfect, but it also, there's a lot of love that was put into it because he's a good artist too. It's a very specific style. But
Very
you picked
cool.
up
I picked up a
2
couple
books.
indie books. You give me some Lodger. I picked up Lodger, which is from the Laphams. Who are the creative team behind Stray Bullets, and it's a very similar tone to Stray Bullets in that it's kind of like it's David Lapham and his wife Maria Lapham. In that it's kind of like a dark, gritty crime thriller, and yeah, I think it's great. It's interesting. They're building on a mystery of what exactly is going on with the Lodger himself, who's the antagonist. But it is definitely for grown-up reader. Because this is an underage girl that got in a relationship with this guy that ended up murdering her parents, and now she's trying to find him and kill him. So
Happy.
this is us finding out more about their relationship, and it's scary, it's messed up, and you're definitely, and this girl's trying to like, I think she's only 16 now, is trying to find her way to follow this guy he's a travel blogger. So he goes to a town and he murders a bunch of people, and then he goes to the next town and he writes blogs, not about the killing, but like whatever. And so she's following his blog, trying to get to him, but she's also trying to keep moving, like without money or whatever. So she ends up trying to rob a place and stuff like that. So for me, all about it, love it. But it is dark. It is darker than most of the comics we talk about. So if you go to check it out, just know that before you get in.
And then
Actually,
Prodigy-
we have a. There you go. She's yelling "fuck you" to the hypothetical Lodger. He's not around, but she's just getting one out for the road. Also, one of the bigger indie books this week was Prodigy, which was, I think we got something for that too, which is from Mark Miller and Raphael Albuquerque, who, if you're like me, you probably primarily know him from American Vampire. He was the artist on that with Scott Snyder. And you know what? It's fine.
Have you read that? American Vampire?
Oh, yeah. I have the first run.
Do you like it?
You know what? It was one of those that it was before I learned that, hey, maybe drop a book if you're not loving it. Like, I want to like it more than I do. In hindsight, but it's a cool idea.
But and Prodigy sounds like a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, but it's nothing you haven't seen before. It's basically like this guy. I think I saw it described as like Lex Luthor, Sherlock Holmes, and Batman, like all rolled into a character. This guy is able to. He's the smartest guy in the world. Is able to solve world problems. Super wealthy, all that jazz, and it's supposed to be he's presented with a problem that is actually a struggle for him to solve. And it's weird because it feels like a completely different pitch for a completely different comic when the problem shows up. Spoiler, you mind if I spoil it?
Oh, yeah.
Alternate reality stuff starts showing up. Like spacecraft, people start exploding into giant spacecrafts that we find out are from an alternate dimension. And there's lab rats in there. No, the only image I've got is him as a young man, which this is kind of emblematic of this is after he beats up some bullies. Because classic, he watches a bunch of kung fu movies and he's so smart he figures out what he needs to do it. And it's one of those that, like, when I was younger, I was like, oh, that's so cool. But as a grown up, I'm like, you can watch something. I can buy that you're smart enough to watch this and understand what you're supposed to do. That doesn't equate to muscle mass, physical training, flexibility, any of the other things that take time and effort. You can't like just watch a bunch of kung fu movies in an afternoon.
Guess you're not smart enough, huh?
I'm clearly not.
Smart
Listen, clearly not. But yeah, so these people are blown up into space cars, and in the back are these like lab animals, and those are test subjects. And then the last one is the agent finds them, and he's revealed like a spacecraft with people in it. That was the first whatever.
Wait, people explode into spacecrafts.
These things that are entering into our reality appear to be at least the one we see. It enters on into a person. They pop into a reality into a person. You know what? I mean, it's fine.
It's on the back. Netflix.
Oh, yeah, Netflix, because this is part of his deal with Netflix. So his brand, his Miller World brand, has been bought by Netflix,
Gotcha.
and all these comics are produced by them theoretically to make shows or TV shows.
Super
which
interesting.
it is interesting. It does
that'd
feed
be a dream deal for a writer. I feel like
it would be. It does feed into my frustration with the industry as a whole, and Miller in particular, that comics have started to feel like pitches for movies instead of honest to God standalone stories. As far as so Indie World is a lot of that, which is frustrating. Marvel's a lot of that too. Stuff feels like, hey, you can use this for the movie later, and it's like, no, just tell your fucking stories, man. Like, come on. That's one of the things I like about the recent Amazing Spider-Man run is it's not like just an Amazing Spider-Man story. It's not like, hey, Thanos is coming to movie soon. Here's some sidekicks he could have. Like, whatever. Anyway, going into DC. We can touch on this real quick. Green Lantern issue 2. By the way, I love this cover. When I was looking for the asset for it, I was able to find it without the text on it. And they're covering up the volcano-headed Green Lantern looking down on Green Lantern smiling. And I love that. Like,
there's a face?
There's a face. In this art, there's a face. And I love that Green Lantern's like, hey, you. Man, I love this shit. I love, by the way, one of my favorite things ever.
Wait, is there a face here?
Yeah, there is a face there. But one of my favorite things, this is why I love Grant Morrison. And I know this isn't going to be the big DC thing that we sit on, so I'm not going to stay on too long. But he refers, this lantern, we have an asset for it. This lantern refers to it as his bell instead of a lantern because he cannot see.
Yeah.
So for him, it's not a lantern. Lantern doesn't mean anything to him. For him, it's a bell. I love that shit. And Evil Star explaining why his name is Evil Star. Because I'm evil, man. I kill the entire planet. And Star makes as much sense as Lantern. Why the fuck would I have my name be any different?
But
fuck it. I love it.
Also, he says it's badass, but then they're like, but you did kill a bunch of people. He's like, yeah, but like...
Yeah. And, well, that's what I love. It's like he finds enough of a justification for this character to name himself that while also understanding it's stupid. It's a stupid name.
And they get rid of him pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. Super quick. Which is kind of a bummer because you made me care about like a Z-list Green Lantern villain just to like kill him, but whatever.
He was pretty bad. And whatever this like thing they're building out, I'm not sure if I'm following it totally, but it's still really early on.
Yeah.
But like the whole world, Oa specifically is absolutely beautiful. This dude is my favorite.
I wish I had an image of him to throw up there. And also, it ends with Earth being stolen, so it's Grand Theft Planet. Hell yeah, man!
Why not?
Yeah.
You know? Have some fun.
I'm all about it. This makes me smile. Green Lantern makes me smile.
I very much enjoyed it as well because it's like this weird. It's like when I found like my grandparents' old like sci-fi novels where you're like, I can't follow. It's a lot of big sci-fi like proto-zone, like all these like weird words that kind of don't mean anything.
How does he have a volcano for a head and there's a face in the cloud?
And it talks, and it's like because he's just saying.
Yeah, he makes like, rumble sounds.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's so much
mumblecore. Yeah, it's great.
The spider person is afraid that the mother of her horde is going to find out she was having an affair with this other guy. Cool.
I like that Hal's scared of spiders, but also the spider's really grossed out by humans. So
he starts like leaning into that, like, my gross eyes. By the way, we'll talk about this off camera. He discovered a new fish with like 28 eyes. I'm gonna have to show that to you. It's crazy.
Gross.
It's crazy.
Speaking of 28 eyes, too many eyes. Let's talk about Martian Manhunter.
You mentioned, like Green Lantern has some words that don't make sense all the time, like space words and stuff like that, and in bigger sci-fi concepts. And I think this is a good example of how not necessarily to do that.
Yeah, because you can't.
The not fun way of doing it.
Yeah, that's some of my problems with Steve Orlando sometimes because the world is cool. Like Mars, the way they build it out looks cool.
It looks cool. I think there's not just green Martians and white Martians, but there's also gold Martians.
Cool.
And Martian Manhunter's a corrupt cop in this flashback.
Fun.
That is what and there is a Martian sex scene.
Yes, there is.
That's about all I got out of what was happening.
Yeah. And then something happening on our world that was there.
A tear gas, which I guess is also like
I don't know what this first scene was.
Can I just say though, I like the design. I like I like that version of his suit.
Yeah. I like the way that the world works, where it's like you have like the look you have when you go outside, and that's what they can look like when they come home. They can look like different things, which is fun. Like if you're a shapeshifter civilization, you pick different shapes and stuff, and like society and cultures would direct how you would look. And I'm like, okay, so
and
there's
also the way telepathy works in relationships and stuff like that in the world, since everybody's telepathic.
There's a problem though when everyone's telepathic and his mouth is open sometimes. It's like, but he doesn't need to have his mouth open right now. And it's I'm interested in the corrupt cop angle, and I like that like they kind of explore like, okay, if the whole planet's telepathic, how do you keep secrets? Like, or is it fully a society that you constantly tell people everything?
Yeah.
And it's like, but that's also, I mean, that might be a little too big for me because it sounds too perfect. It sounds too perfect for like people sharing things constantly.
Well, and they set up a situation where the situation his wife sets up is you have a pocket that you keep to yourself from the public, but in an intimate relationship like that, normally you share that. So, and he's not, and of course it's classic cop, like, I want to protect you. Yeah, I don't know.
It's not a bad book.
It shows how hard it is to like find that balance, because like you go too much into fake words, it's hard to follow. But I've seen other writers go too far the other way, where they'll use like Earth colloquialisms that it's like that doesn't make any sense within the context of not having been Earth not existing for these people. Like that doesn't. Why are they referencing like Budweiser ads?
No, this is not the perfect example. Just one time in a comic where it was like, this makes zero sense. What's happening is when Stephen Strange makes a get in the zone, auto zone joke, and
it's like
when in the Doctor Doom Iron Man story, I was like, I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah,
sure, he's probably seen this, but like this is anyways. Sorry,
but like when it's like what's up, it's like, why are these aliens that exist before Earth existed referencing an like
maybe we learned it from them.
You know what I mean? Like, but so it's a fine line between doing it, but I don't know that I'm gonna keep up.
I'm gonna pick up one more. I might pick up one more. It's 12 issues too. That's a bit much, but there is one issue. There is one comic I'm definitely gonna stick with for a while. Is Shazam, because it's
so much fun,
so delightful, and the art is it's almost Gary Frank. It's like it's really close. It's really good.
I like how heightened it is. I like how like crazy some of the characters look. Like we have another picture here where you'll see like just people's exaggerated reactions to it. Feels perfectly Captain Marvel. Like it's a
very 1940s.
It's a little bit grounded, it's a little bit cheesy. It feels good. I'm into it.
And I like that they pick like he's in Philadelphia, like it's a real place, and it makes it feel like it's a different world. And I like that the Marvel family, I guess what, they don't have to be around Billy to make it happen, which I didn't know that was like a rule.
Yeah.
And I like that they established in his series that there were 7 council members or whatever. Who cares how many what the number was? Like different entities for different magical realms. Yeah. And like that's perfect roadmap for a story. Just like you explore all the different ones. And
are there 7 of his family members? Is that going to how things line up?
Yeah, and some of the logos looked similar for different members. And stuff.
It's also interesting that they reveal an interesting problem that I hadn't thought about, that it was Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel Jr. and Mary Marvel and the Marvel family is what they were called. And now that he's not Captain Marvel, it's like, and the name of his character he can't say without turning back into Billy Batson. It's like, oh, this is actually kind of, you need to find an answer for this if this is how you're going to brand the character from here on out. You know what I mean? Like you need to figure it out, you know? So I'm interested to see what they settle on.
Maybe you have to just say the name with intent. You can't just say the name like in passing. I don't know. I don't know.
But it's
either.
fun. I'm glad Jeff Johns is tackling it. I like. I think it's Dale Eaglesham. Eaglesham is the artist, and I think he does a good job. And I'm also going to keep up with this.
Yeah, and also the backup issue where you see that possibly there's a magic rabbit now. Well, totally on board with that.
And also the twist at the end. I liked just because I didn't expect it.
Yeah, because the whole being a foster kid's kind of a New 52 thing. So, and that guy looks like him.
Yeah, looks like Captain Marvel. Yeah. The artist for the backup is Mayo Nato, I think.
Mayo Sen. Sen is what they go by on Twitter.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. Great. Love it. I love this artwork. I think it's delightful.
You learn more about Mary.
Yeah.
And Darla. I like their look when they like transform too. It's really cool.
Yeah. Ton of fun.
So good. There was one more book that we both read together, right?
Yes.
One more. Doomsday Clock, issue number 7? 8.
We're in the home stretch.
Oh my God! Please hurry up. Just please.
Only 8 more months, Sam.
Yeah.
Almost a whole year.
Oh my God.
2/3 of a year.
They better hurry. I'm sorry, Gary Frank. I know you do a good job, but can you kind of just cut in half? Or stop doing 9 panels. Like, I don't know.
No, you got to follow the Watchmen grid rule.
Okay. I just wish this was going quicker. It's so beautiful. Like, here, we'll get that out of the way. And this is finally like this is a big story. Like, actually a lot of stuff happens, and it's scary. I like that they go to Kahndaq. I like that they explore. It's like, hey, whatever the Superman theory is that like the government started creating metahumans and people are now hunting them. It's like, come to Kahndaq. Fine. Yeah. This is not a great place, but if you're a metahuman, cool. Also looking at all like a lot of interesting stories, a lot of interesting takes, like Sandstorm. Like,
I'm into Sandstorm,
which I'm like, there's big truck that's about to plow through the wall right now.
There is a big truck,
and also Putin meets Superman.
Yeah, that was one of those, like, I know, like Nixon was a part of Watchmen, and it was straight up Nixon.
Good point.
But it was weird, like
the current Russian president.
Putin doesn't deserve the honor of being in a DC comic.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
honestly.
But I thought this was a really good Superman issue. I like the way he handled the Ronnie situation.
Ronnie's situation's a nightmare.
Yes,
and that's something that Jeff Johns established with Blackest Night, that he can turn organic material into something else. He does it to one of the girl side to Firestorm, which is a nightmare.
Yeah,
but if you want to make the comic a nightmare, you gotta sometimes kill a couple characters, I guess. I don't know. But I really like seeing Firestorm being in a comic.
Yes. And also it's funny because the Russian guy he's fighting is also Firestorm.
Yeah.
It was a Firestorm at one point, so that's fun.
It is, and like I like you see the super team, and I like seeing all like the world reacting this way. It makes the world feel bigger, more larger than New 52, which is whole point of Rebirth is to make it feel like a whole universe that's been lived in for a long time. And Superman everyone's like, oh my god, he took such a political stance. He was just like, just don't demonize people, just because of who they are.
Yeah. And Batman's like, don't you say it. It's like, what? It's so nothing what he's saying. It's so like, hey, maybe just don't immediately jump to
be fair,
conclusions with people.
To be on the other side, you're right. Yeah. Because I agree. Yeah. But also, Firestorm did just kind of immediately murder. They're dead.
Yeah.
He killed like at least 100 people immediately, and I actually felt like real like the ticking clock when people are like now firing at Superman,
and they're shooting the people in the glass, and you feel like, sometimes like situations get out of hand like this, and you're like, wow, this could have been avoided. And this is one of those, like, honestly, I don't know how. Ronnie's immediately trying to fix people, and it's like, yeah, 100%, that's what I would have done too. The second people are screaming and people are breaking, like, I'm gonna get down there and like, let me see if I can fix this like right this second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And at the end, something goes off. Yeah. Something goes off, whatever that is.
It's like a Dr. Manhattan situation. It is interesting. I'm wondering how they're going to play. Is Dr. Manhattan really the big bad? Because it does look like Ozymandias is like pulling the strings a little bit. I mean, literally, I think the variant cover of this is Superman and Dr. Manhattan as puppets with Ozymandias having the strings. So
I'm very interested to see where it keeps going. Like, I like that it's ramping up now. Let's see.
Yeah.
I really want this. I mean, I don't really have. I guess I have some expectations for it because it's been building up for so long.
Yeah.
Mainly, I just want it to be done. Like, I really want it to be like, I want this to be finished. Please let it be done. But I also picked up some other DC books.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I picked up Deathstroke and Arkham. It's a Two-Face story, which is really interesting. And they also introduced like a Deadpool type character, which is really cool. It's like this guy who wants to be Deathstroke.
Is it Red Tool?
No.
Wow, that means they have multiple Deadpool characters running around.
Well, I think it was created for this now. It was just for this story where he's kind of acting.
Because Harley Quinn had a cool character called Red Tool that was a Deadpool knockoff.
That's fun.
Right.
I don't think Christopher Priest would have touched that character, honestly, like just based on how he's written stuff so far. But the way that he... the way that he talks and appears, it looks like he's just a big fan of Deathstroke, and he's dressed up similar.
Nice.
And they were on an adventure that right now, since Deathstroke's in Arkham, he said that he left for 2 weeks, but in their time, and he came back at the same, like basically as soon as he left, but no one believes it, and it's really interesting how like you kind of feel on edge, like, did this happen? And now that this person's here, it's like it had to have, but when? Like, and even when they say like time travel stuff, you're like, but seriously, when could this have happened? And Two-Face is actually like a threat, and I'm really a big fan of when they can like have some fun like that. Red Hood and the Outlaw, I might have to drop this book because
you're not feeling it.
No, it's Batwoman and Red Hood, and now Renee Montoya is there. But I'm like, I picked this up because I liked Bizarro and I like Artemis and I like this, and now that it's not that anymore, I'm
You're not feeling it.
Not feeling it.
I get it.
I know
get it.
you picked up Super Sons as well, so I won't spoil
but
it.
I didn't read it yet.
There's a very. Did you remember the tease at the end of the last issue? It's the
They're
you
in
see
the house, the adult versions of them. Yeah.
very. It's very fun to see them all together. I know Scott Snyder's supposed to be writing Justice League, but he hasn't been for a while. It's been Tynan,
Okay.
and it's been a lot.
Did you
lot
ever
tighter right
sum
now.
up your feelings on Drowned Earth?
It was okay. And the way they solved it was really interesting. And I like that Legion of Doom's basically falling apart really quick because everyone's getting greedy. And in this issue, Joker finally reacts. It was like they show how he got recruited.
Yeah.
And he was kind of offering all these big things. He's like, fine, I'll do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll do it if you don't bring the Batman Who Laughs. You can't.
No.
And Luthor lied. And so at this point, it's Joker unleashing and attacking the entire Legion, while they're having a meeting to try to recruit more people. So it immediately goes to shit, and it's Luthor trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
And it's Luthor trying to show that he had prepped for the Joker turning on him. And Joker's like, no, you left me alone here for a long time. I've been kind of just. He's like, yeah, I found all the stuff that you were hiding, and you let me build torture rooms, so I just turned every room into a torture room, which is this is fun. He doesn't kill anybody, but I and he leaves. He's not a part of it anymore. Black Manta's not a part of it anymore. He's
interesting.
It's going poorly really fast. I think they tease bringing Brainiac back, because of course he's not dead.
Yeah.
Because of course.
Yeah.
I liked this issue though a lot. It was
Cool.
very good. Totality bullshit. Who gives a shit? The Dreaming. I really like that book a lot. I really like this Sandman universe story because they introduce this character called Judge Gallo, and in the previous issue he was basically in this chest of nightmares where they kind of shove everything, and this racist the pumpkin character pulls him out because he realizes that Daniel's not here. Morpheus isn't here. So we need someone who's actually going to be a leader. And so he goes through the nightmares because there's nowhere else to look, and he pulls out Judge Gallows, and Judge Gallows is that prejudicial fear made manifest. And he appeared during pioneer times in the West, and he was that feeling you got that felt like righteous justice and led to a lot of hangings. And it's you're a nightmare, but he's so stern. It's that kind of thing you want, and you imagine you want in a leader where everything's straightforward. It's just this is what it is. This is what we got to do. And
that's kind of the appeal of fascism, is somebody that makes everything simple.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
And so those clay people that started appearing, they're teasing that there's another Endless that's going to appear soon. There's this Tesseract that appeared in the middle of the Dreaming or whatever, and is it Cain and Abel? Abel dies, right? Yeah. Abel walked in, came out, and he's very sure of himself, and it's it's really funny the way they reveal. It's you're not stuttering anymore, because that's the whole bit. And Cain's like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna let this thing confuse me. I'm gonna go inside, and it's basically the manifestation of that reassurance. It's it makes everything clear, and it's that. That is not how the universe works. And so it's very iffy how it's going to happen. And right now you have all these nightmares running the Dreaming, and a lot of them are fucking crazy. One of them is this giant spider monster with just boobs all over it, and it's just what is happening in this story? But it's very, I like how clear it is while being a bigger story. It's very, and right now you have the librarian and Nora, I think that's what her name is, this mystery girl. They're working together to go try to find Daniel, or just try to find something that can make this clear, that can fix this. And she's kind of having a mental breakdown right now because Judge Gallows immediately gets to her. He's like, just so you know, you're not real. It was this side thing that he said as he's walking by, and immediately she isn't. No. She was pulled out of a dream, and that's why she can move between stuff. It's she's not real. No. And that Crow character has a great line where it's we're as real as we want to be. No. And it was this really cool moment where there's lots of good character development in this. It's a bigger story, and it feels like Fables. It feels like when I read Fables, where that was way more grounded in comparison. But I'm excited to see where this mystery goes. I also picked up Book of Magic last week, and that one can go ahead and go to sleep. I'm done with that one. That one I'm tired of. Oh, what else did I read? I read that. I read Legion of Doom, Green Lantern, Dreaming, Shazam. Okay, let's talk about this really quick. Batman.
Batman 60, right?
It is. It is. So Penguin's turning on Bane, and he's Bane has control inside Arkham, and last issue, Batman really beat the snot out of Bane, and he's still pretending like he's like mentally not there.
Yeah.
And now Gordon seems like he's turning on Batman as well, and like you're like, what's happening? And I remember in the issue 50, did you pick up issue 50?
Yes.
So you remember you saw all like the villains there, and you're like, wait, why is Batman's dad there? And you're like, haha, that's probably just a recap of what happened in the first 50 issues. He pops up at the end of this issue. It's like
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas Wayne, because Penguin turned. So Penguin is blindfolded and being kept in the Batcave, and Alfred and him are talking.
Yeah.
And it's actually really sweet because Penguin lost his love, and it's like he doesn't know what to do now, and he's like, really, there's not really any point for me to do anything anymore. Like the way they talk about it's very sweet and very sad.
Yeah.
But at a point, someone shows up and takes Penguin and knocks out Alfred, and Batman comes back, and cars coming by again. They're like, it's your father, and behind is the Flashpoint Batman. I am honestly so confused.
Yeah.
Well, wait, I'm gonna pick this. I'm a Tom King supporter.
Yeah.
Amen. Like, let's see where this goes, man.
I have 40 more issues.
I have no idea. Yeah. But guys, let us know what you guys read this week.
Please.
Also, make sure you pick up, or you can rent it on Hoopla or on Comixology Unlimited, the first volume of Mark Waid's Daredevil run. We're gonna be reading it in the new year. It's gonna be a fun one. DJ, you want to just tell them to look at the poll list we do on our show. Go on Twitter.
Go to look at the poll list to see what comics you should be picking up. The Chaos Theory is it shipped. It's not. I got it, and now I'm going to be signing it and packing it to ship to you. So be excited for that. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash,
at Sam Basher, everywhere that
Thank
matters.
you for supporting the Patreon.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.